This video is sponsored by the amazing people at Amino. I've already made 2 videos for them before, and I couldn't be happier to work with them again. Amino allows you to connect with people from all around the world simply by joining communities based on subjects that you're interested in. Movies, video games, TV shows. If it exists, then chances are there's a community for it. And if there isn't, then you can create your own community for it. Not only that, but you can post fan art, enter polls, chat with other users. There's something here for everybody. I myself have been very active in the Eddsworld community lately, and I've sincerely had an enjoyable time with it. A lot of you guys have reached out to me there, and I've tried my best to respond to as many of you as I can. You've all been extremely nice and generous to me there, and I can't thank any of you enough. Amino is the best possible way to make friends with people from around the world and express your love for the things you're into, and I highly recommend you check it out. You can start today by downloading the app from the Apple or Google Play stores. Thank you for listening and enjoy the video. Hey everybody, this is Mark from the Eddsworld Fan Movie, and once again I'm teaming up with the wonderful people at Amino to bring you some kind of special Amino-related content. Now, in case you just skipped the intro and got to this part, you'll remember that I already made 2 other videos with Amino before. And for this video, they said I could pretty much do whatever I want. So for this video, I've been thinking a lot about what I could do that would relate to the Amino app, but also relate to Eddsworld, as well as provide you with some interesting, somewhat interesting content. I'm moving my arms around a lot. I'm an octopus. And then it hit me. Ow. What if I went onto the Eddsworld Amino app and asked users there if there was any sort of specific piece of artwork that they wanted to see me draw for them? So about 2 weeks ago, at the point of filming this video, I basically posted on my Eddsworld Amino profile, basically saying, hey guys, if there's anything you want me to draw for you, then give me your suggestions, and then I'll pick the best ones and make a video out of it. And if you've ever seen like a Butch Hartman video where he draws like Danny Phantom characters 10 years later, this is basically gonna be similar to that, but just drawing requests from Amino users. Wow, the lighting changed on my camera so badly when I pointed my tablet at it. There was a deadline for people to submit suggestions, and once that deadline came, I went through all the comments and picked out some of my favorites. I already drew all of them and I already recorded them, so basically you're gonna see the time lapses for all of them, but with commentary over them, so that it's not just like a, hey, look, I drew this, give me likes. It's not gonna be that sort of thing. Okay, so the first drawing you're going to see was suggested by Silva, in parentheses, Silva's World, and they want to see me draw Ed stabbing Matt. Lovely. All right, let's do this. Okay, Ed stabbing Matt. Now for this one, I really like this suggestion because it seemed to me like a direct reference to this old 6 keyframe animation that Ed made a couple of years ago. I think he posted it on Tumblr just because somebody asked him to animate Ed stabbing Matt. And it was just this really short little animation. It was just like repeated. It was almost kind of like a GIF of Ed just putting the knife into Matt and then pulling it back out and putting it in and out, in and out. That almost sounds kind of gross. But I remember that animation clearly because either I found it myself or somebody showed it to me, but I thought it was really funny. So that's why I went with the suggestion for this video. Now you can see for some parts of the video, I'll do like basic little rough ideas of what the characters' bodies will look like, and then I do like a basic outline on top of it, and then for the third layer I'll put the final outline on top of it. So you can see that I didn't trace over the original exactly the way I sketched them previously, but that's only because during some of these sessions I would come up with a different way to draw certain parts of the character that I think would look better. Sometimes it worked, other times it didn't. For this one, I think it worked. You can also see some YouTube notifications popping up on screen, maybe, but that's only because I had Google Chrome open, and I have it so that I get notifications from people that I'm subscribed to on YouTube, certain people I'm subscribed to, so you saw a couple of notifications there, but then I closed Chrome shortly after. You'll also notice I'm not using a character model sheet for the colors. That's only because I didn't really think of the idea. So, anyway, here it is. Here's Ed stabbing Matt. Okay, the next one is coming from a user named Tori, and they want to see me draw Vampire Matt trying to look in a hand mirror, realizing he can't. Please. Thanks for saying please. It's very nice of you. Alright, it's a really funny idea. Let's do it. Okay, this is the next one. This is going to be Vampire Matt, and I don't really draw Vampire Matt that much, so at first I was kind of surprised that somebody suggested it to me, but I guess Vampire Matt is sort of becoming popular with fans, sort of like PowerEdd in Spares, you're that reject clone. So I didn't really know how to think at first, but I decided, you know what, it's a funny idea, I'm gonna go through with it. You'll notice there that I've been having a little bit of trouble with his hand, so I've had to redraw that a couple of times, and that's the one I settled on. These clips are sped up, so you probably don't really have an idea of how long these drawings actually took me in real time. This one I think probably took me a half hour. Most of them took me about a half hour. Other later drawings that you'll see took me a little bit longer. There is one suggestion I took that I'm going to draw later that you'll see, which took me like over an hour to do because it was just so intricate and I was just paying so much attention to detail with it. But anyway, I don't really have much else to say about this drawing. I thought it was a funny idea and I decided to go through with it. It was good practice in drawing Vampire Matt. I should probably draw him more, actually. He's pretty fun to draw. Again, I didn't use a model sheet for the colors. And you'll notice that I'm using kind of a gradient background, but with like these sort of action lines to express, I'm surprised and I'm shocked. And you'll notice that I skip back to a keyframe just to borrow something from the other drawing. But here it is. There's Vampire Matt, shocked that he can't see his reflection. Oh no, my face! Okay, this next one is just so ridiculous when I first saw it, but I really like it. AJ wants me to draw Tom riding a unicycle being chased by an army of trumpets. That is probably one of the greatest suggestions or requests for anything I've ever gotten in my entire life. So good on you, AJ, for giving me something different and something unique. So here it is, right here. Okay, so remember when I said there were drawings that took me a little bit longer to do than others? Well, this is one of them. Just drawing the unicycle alone, you can see here, it's probably skipping frames a bit. I'm not sure why that is. Like, just drawing the unicycle and the trumpets here, that took me a long time to do because I kept looking back and forth at my reference sheets because I didn't know exactly how to draw them from memory, so I had to look at reference images for those. I think this one might have taken me a little less than an hour to do, maybe 45 minutes, because it's not as intricate as some other ones you might see, but it still took me a little longer to do than normally. I have no idea what the story behind this is. I don't know why this person wanted me to draw this specifically. I mean, it's a funny idea, and I loved doing it, but I'm not sure exactly. I don't know if it's an in-joke between them and friends. I'm sure they'll hit me up later and explain it to me exactly, but I had fun doing it, and yeah, I don't really have much else to say here. Oddly enough, I kind of have a story to tell. I used to take trumpet lessons when I was in 6th or 7th grade. I used to play trumpet in middle school band. It never really worked out for me. There wasn't like a major accident or anything. I just wasn't really that invested in it. So once I got into 8th grade, I decided, you know what, I don't really want to do this anymore. And then in 8th grade, I guess the middle school I went to had like a rock band where they had students playing different instruments. Like there was somebody on keyboard, somebody on guitar, somebody on drums, on bass, and lead vocalists. So I joined that rock band in 8th grade, and I was actually the only lead male singer, and I was also one of the keyboard players because our music teacher was the lead keyboard player. But I was the lead and only male vocalist in the group. There were 3 other girls that were vocalists. So I don't know why I felt the need to tell that story. I guess it was just looking at the trumpet reminded me of playing trumpet in middle school. I'm not even looking at my... Oh, here we go. I think the suggestion mentioned something about the trumpets being evil, and I think that just hit me here, so I decided to give the trumpets devil horns to get across the idea that they were evil, so hopefully that worked out in the end. So here it is. Here's your crazy suggestion, Mr. or Mrs. or Miss Person. I already forget your username, I'm sorry, but here you go. Well, that was fun. Alright, next suggestion comes from a user named Starry Moon, and they want to see me draw Ed with Cola hanging out with Doctor Who. First off, it's the Doctor, not Doctor Who. there's a difference. Fans are very picky about that, as you can tell. Second, all right, I'll do it. Let's go. All right, here's another simple one. Well, this should have been a simple one, but this ended up taking, again, it took like maybe 45 minutes to do, less than an hour, more than an hour. I forget exactly, but I remember it took longer than most other ones, and you'll find out as we go along. So for this drawing, I had to draw Ed hanging out with the Doctor from Doctor Who while drinking a can of cola. But I thought, you know what? The Doctor has had so many incarnations over the years, I could go with any of them. So at first I wasn't sure who exactly I wanted to do, but then I thought, you know what? The new series is coming soon, we're getting a new Doctor, so I paired up Ed with the 13th Doctor, Jodie Whittaker. And I thought it was appropriate because she is the first female incarnation of the Doctor, she's the newest incarnation, and Series 11 is coming soon, which I'm really, really excited about. And people gave Jodie a lot of flack when she was announced, but personally, I really liked the choice. I mean, I've never heard of Jodie when she was cast, so when she was announced, I looked up clips of her, like in interviews or in performances, and it turned out she's a really great actress. And I'm not just excited because it's a first female Doctor. Granted, I don't care if the Doctor is a man or a woman or black or white or whatever. I just want somebody who can give a really good performance, and I think Jodie is going to be able to do that. So I'm really excited to see her. And that's why I decided to pair her up with Ed. Now, I should explain the reason why this drawing took so long to do is because Jodie Whittaker's outfit here is very detailed. She has sort of a beige coat with a long blue hood, but has red and yellow stripes in it, and she has yellow suspenders, blue pants, a gray t-shirt with rainbow colors going across the chest. There is a lot of detail in her outfit, so that's why this drawing took a little bit longer than most of the other ones. So there I am just trying to figure out the colors that should go across. I decided to play it safe and just make it basic colors. I figured Jodie was going to take longer to draw than Ed, so I just decided to draw her first. Because I've drawn Ed so many times that I can pretty much draw him effortlessly, so that's why I decided to get the more detailed and probably harder character out of the way first. Don't really have much else to say about this. There I am dropping another drop shadow, and there you go. Here's Ed with the 13th Doctor. Alright, next up we have... I have no idea how to pronounce this username, I'm so sorry. But basically, their suggestion was I draw the neighbors in the gang, Ed and his friends, swapped in personality with their counterparts, Ed with Eduardo, John with Tom, yada yada. Now that's a really cool idea, so here it is. So this is probably one of the drawings that took me the longest to do. This, I remember, took like maybe an hour or an hour and a half, and that's because I had to do a big piece with 6 characters all posed differently, and I had to get all the poses right. Now for this drawing, I wasn't quite sure how exactly to show that the characters had swapped personalities. At first I thought, maybe I could just give Ed Eduardo's mustache, or I can give Matt Mark's chin, but I thought, no, that would just look weird. So I figured the easy way out would probably be just drawing all the characters acting like their opposites, but also dressed up in their opposites' clothes. So you're gonna see Eduardo in a green hoodie instead of his like regular collared shirt. Ed's gonna wear a collared shirt. John is gonna wear Tom's clothes. You get the idea. Also, for the different outfits, I thought it would be a fun detail if the colors of the costumes stayed the same. So Eduardo doesn't just wear Ed's hoodie, he wears a green hoodie that is the same color as his regular shirt. So he wears a dark green hoodie and not a regular green one. And Ed wears a light green collared shirt there. I'm sure people are either gonna find this really hilarious or very morbid. To indicate that John is acting like Tom, not only did I put him in a hoodie, but I also gave him a flask, because, Tom drinks a lot, and I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that. Personally, I think it's kind of funny to see him with a flask. And then, to indicate that Tom is acting like John, I had him sort of like cowering behind John, like he's scared of something, because when you think about it, John doesn't really have much of a personality, but one of his most common traits is that he's sort of the most easy to startle out of his trio. So that's why I made Tom cower behind John. Now for Matt and Mark, that was a little bit trickier because, again, Mark doesn't really have that much of a personality. Maybe he's kind of cynical. Maybe he's about the same as Matt. Maybe he's kind of stuck up. So that's why I kind of give Matt this expression here that you're seeing. It's like, oh, look at these guys. Oh, they're so weird. That sounds like a beetle. one of the Beatles. Hey John, hey Ringo. I don't really have much else to say for this part. I could have just had Mark maybe looking at his reflection in the mirror because, you know, Matt's very full of himself. But I thought, I'm already so far into this and I'm lazy. I can't really go back and change anything, so I'm just going to stick with what I'm doing here. And here I am trying to add shadows underneath them, but they just look weird and I don't know how to pull that off successfully. So, there it is. Here are Ed, Matt, and Tom with swapped personalities from Eduardo, Mark, and John. Alright, this next suggestion comes from a user named Depressing Bean, and they want me to draw the bean John. Why can't you be a happy bean? Or like a giggly bean, or a jumping bean, you know, just something positive. Why does everything have to be depressing all the time? Can't we just have a little positivity in the world? I think we need a little bit more of that. Anyway, here it is. Okay, I wasn't quite sure what this person meant when they called John a bean, like the bean John. I wasn't quite sure what that meant, so I decided to take it literally and draw John as a bean. Yeah, he's just regular a bean that looks like John. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't really have much else to say. I might have said that a lot during this video, but that's basically what you see is what you get. So here is John, literally, as a bean. There you go. God, I love being literal. All right, so this next one comes from a user named Hormones. Top notch. And they want me to draw Tom with eyes. Oh dear. Let's give this a shot. Alright, Tom with eyes. Now, for this one was really fun because it didn't require a lot of thinking for me to figure out what exactly I was going to do with it. Because when I got the suggestion for drawing Tom with eyes, I thought, oh, you know, I'll just recreate the pose from Santa Claus 2 when he opens the gift from Santa and turns around towards the camera with eyes going, I'm beautiful. So that's basically what I'm doing here. Actually, fun fact, all 3 Santa Claus episodes have scenes with Tom having eyes. In the first Santa Claus episode, he gets the eyes when he's trying to convince Santa that he didn't eat the pie. And then, of course, in Santa Claus 2, he gets them as a gift from Santa. And then in Santa Claus 3, he gets eyes when he looks at Santa and goes, you suck. You know what, now that I think about it, all those scenes involve Santa in some way. That had never occurred to me. I am just a walking encyclopedia of Eddsworld knowledge. So, yeah, there you go. I'm adding a little bit of sparkle here at the end, because it's all magical that Tom has eyes now. So, here you go. Here's Tom with eyes, in that same pose from Santa Claus 2. Okay, I was really happy to get this request. That dude fan, I love your username by the way, this person wants me to draw Bing and Larry. Now when you say Bing, I'm assuming you mean the evil director, because he's not actually called Bing in the show. Although technically, in the end credits of the movie within the episode, his name is listed as Christopher Bing Bong. You know what, whatever, here it is. Let's do this. Okay, the evil director and Larry. 2 of my favorite characters from the show. Mostly the evil director because he's just such a weird, psychotic, kind of narcissistic, kind of obsessive filmmaker. And by obsessive, I mean obsessed with monkeys because he seems to use them a lot in his films. Now you can see right here that I'm sort of having a hard time trying to get the mouth to look right, like the wrinkles on the sides of his mouth because he has a very big, wide mouth. And you'll see there that I kind of struggled a little bit with trying to get them to look right. There was a lot of trial and error involved with just the wrinkles on the sides of his mouth. Now, I don't really have anything else to say for this, except it's just the evil director and Larry. Well, I will say, I think Larry is very funny too, because every great villain character has to have some sort of foil or some sort of sidekick. And especially if it's a comedic villain, then their sidekick needs to be the smarter of them. They need to be like the straight guy. So that's basically hilarious, and I really like him for that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This drawing is definitely much more straightforward than some of the other ones I did. But yeah, all I had to do was draw the evil director and Larry, which for the most part is pretty effortless for me. So there you go.
Don't they know how many monkeys I had to take together to make that monster? Many!
Okay, this is gonna be fun. Kiku wants to see what would happen if Ed from What the Future and Edward from Salunatics, Detective Edward Gold, met up with Ed in the present. Alright, sounds doable. Alright, this is one of my favorite drawings of the whole set, because I have done several drawings in the past of, like, different versions of the main characters interacting with each other. Like, I did this piece, that I'll probably put up on screen, of all the different Eds sitting on the couch together, from, like, the Legacy era and the Classic series. I love that kind of stuff. I like seeing alternate versions of the same character interacting with each other. There's just something so charming about it. Now, if you remember from my Eddsworld recap series, I said that I wasn't really a big fan of the episode Solunatics, but I still appreciate it for different reasons. I like that it used scrapped material from Ed's idea books or sketchbooks for the plot, and I like the idea of it taking place in the West. So there's that. And I also really like Detective Edward Gold's look. It's very simple but distinctly Western. And I especially like Future Ed's design here. Just Ed, like maybe 20 years older, same clothes, but just big jacket, longer hair, beard. There's just something so cool about it. Ed is one of the easiest characters in the show for me to draw, so this did not take me ridiculously long, although you could see earlier that I was having a hard time trying to get Edward Gold's hand in the right position to make it look like he's actually sort of holding on to the lid of his hat, but I think I might have found a pretty good balance. Nothing really much to say about this one. I don't recall it taking me that long to do. You can see I have some reference pictures there. I'm using the same color scheme for all three of them, and I'm sort of improvising a bit with certain colors like Edward Gold's hat, but I really like how this turned out. It's probably one of my favorite drawings from this collection, so there you go. There is Present Ed, Future Ed, and Detective Edward Gold. Alright, so this next one is coming from Read Bio. So I'm guessing this user wants me to read their bio. Actually, let's do that. Let's read their bio. I'm curious. Okay, so I just went to this person's profile, and it turns out after I picked the suggestions, this person changed their username to Toonie Looney. Toonie, to correct myself, wants me to draw PowerEdd and some kind of Super Ringo standing or flying by his side. That sounds adorable, so enjoy. Now here's the drawing that took me the longest to do. This is PowerEdd and Super Ringo, I guess I'll call him. Now this took me a really long time. Well, not ridiculously long, it only took me like an hour and a half, but man, this felt like forever. It was just so intricate, and the poses were so dynamic, and it just took me a really long time to get this right. And also, it took me a long time to figure out how to draw Ringo. I've never drawn Ringo before. I've never drawn Ed's cat. So you can see there I used a reference picture from one of the Eddsworld comics. It was one of the comics that Toby did. I think that's the one with Ringo taking Ed's drawing and putting it up in a museum, or starting an art museum, putting it on display. But I really like how this one turned out. I like how dynamic it is, and I've never drawn something with Ed and his cat, Ringo. So it was also really fun for me to just pair these two up in some sort of playful way. This was really fun to do, just drawing Ringo in kind of a superhero costume, but all I did was give him like gloves and a mask and superhero tights, I suppose. The mask, I think I was inspired by The Incredibles to give him just sort of a plain black face mask, but looking back, it almost kind of makes him look like a raccoon a little bit because of the streaks of like dark gray on his fur and the tail. I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of a raccoon. Of course, I didn't fully make him a raccoon, but that's just sort of the vibe that I'm getting with him. Oh, I forgot to point out one thing you might notice in these drawings, that sometimes when outlines of a character are complete, I'll fill the entire outline in red or any color. That's because for me, it's very helpful for later when I actually have to fill the colors in with the real colors. So the red is to indicate where I'm supposed to fill them in. So if there's any particular spot that isn't red, I'll know not to fill that in. I think it also has something to do with the fact that I'm drawing these characters on top of a white canvas. And sometimes, like when I'm coloring in white, I won't be able to tell right away if I colored it in because it's white on top of white. And sometimes that can get really confusing. And here you can see I started to borrow some of the action lines from the vampire mat drawing, but then I realized that it didn't really look that good, so I just created some new lines and copied and pasted them. Although looking back, I probably could have filled up the entire background with lines to make it a little more dynamic, but what are you gonna do? So, there's PowerEdd and Super Ringo. I don't know why I went French there. Ringo. That's better. Okay, so this will be the last suggestion that I do for this video. Comes from a user named Lemony Iced Tea, and they want me to draw the boys just being happy together. Please. Thank you again for saying please. I really appreciate that. I can't think of a better way to end this video myself, so let's give it a look. Alright, last one. This is Ed, Tom, Matt, and Tord hanging out together. Now, I thought about it and I figured, you know what? Whenever I think of the guys getting along together, I think of sort of the classic era of Eddsworld, like specifically 2007, 2008, that particular time period, just before Tord was leaving, but when he was still a big part of the group. So for this one, and because I needed the practice, I thought it would be fun to do a drawing in that kind of 2007, 2008 Eddsworld style. You can see, like, Tom doesn't have his ears, and you can see the designs are different. They're much more sloppy, and they're a little bit rough around the edges. Not very clean, but still charming in their own way. Judging from the views of my Eddsworld recap videos, I'm going to assume that not a whole lot of you have seen the classic episodes, or probably don't care about them. But looking back at this, I really wish that that this particular era of Eddsworld got more recognition now, because a lot of fans nowadays are introduced to the show through the legacy episodes, like The End specifically. But I was one of those fans that actually started with the classic series. Like, my first episode was Hello Hellhole, and that was nearly 10 years ago. I'm not saying that makes me more of a true fan than anybody else that's in the fandom now. I'm just saying that I wish more people would go back and look at the classic episodes so that they can better appreciate where the show started and where it got to now. But, you know, you don't have to watch them if you don't want to. I'm just suggesting that you go give them a shot because I really enjoy them and I think you would too. Oh, I really went off on a tangent there. I didn't even mention that this pose is supposed to be the same pose that they're in the beginning of Halloween Special 2007 when they're all sitting on the couch and playing the video game. Wow, I don't know if you can tell, but I really like to ramble. So, anyway, there it is. There's Ed, Tom, Matt, and Tord sitting on the couch, being relatively happy with each other. So, there you have it, guys. Those are just some of the suggestions that I got from that Amino post. I really had a lot of fun drawing them, and I probably would never have thought of drawing them myself if I hadn't posted that and read any of the suggestions that I got. So this was a lot of fun, and to everybody who sent in suggestions as a part of this, thank you. And to anybody watching this who's not active on the Eddsworld Amino and is probably thinking, oh, I wish I could have been a part of this. Well, good news for you. Shut up. Good news for you is I'm planning on doing a part 2 of this next month. So after this video goes live, I will be posting on my Amino profile that I will be doing another one of these. So if you want to be a part of this, I will put a screenshot of my Amino profile right here, so you can go find me there, and there you can find the post for the next video, and then you can post your comment about what it is you want me to draw for the next video. I'm probably repeating myself a lot, but I'll just keep doing this to distract you. Whee! And for the record, I won't be taking suggestions from the comments section on this video, because this is exclusive to Amino users. So if you want to be involved in this video, you have to be active on the Eddsworld Amino and comment on the post that I put up on my profile. So there you go, that's another fun video for you all to enjoy or make fun of. However you want to react to this, you can react in whatever emotions you feel are necessary to you. And after I do the next Amino art video, do you want me to do other videos like this? Do you want me to do other sort of art-related videos? I've been thinking about doing it for a while, but I haven't really thought about it seriously. But if you think that I should, then you can tell me in the comments down below, and I might read them and take them up to consideration. Yeah, but until then, thank you all for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I can't wait to read your suggestions for Amino Art Part 2. I'm sure it's gonna be a lot of fun. Until then, see you later.